Hey guys, it's Rachel from The Little Ring Lamb, and today I have a book haul. So this book haul comprises the books I bought from Chapters/Indigo, and there's one book that I bought from Amazon from a seller, because that's usually how I go. If I want to get a used book, I'll typically go there if it's something that's extremely expensive. But yeah, anywho, so I'm going to start with the books I got from Chapters. The first being 28 Summers by Ellen Hildebrand, which is her newest summer release. I love her books. Her summer books are a tradition. I get them every summer. I read them every summer. I was looking back at my, you can't see, but up there's a shelf, and I was looking back, and I was like, oh, look how many summers. I think this is the 10th summer I've read her new release when it came out, and it's just like, I look at them and I'm like, oh, I remember that summer based on the book, but so good. I'm not going to go too in depth about this because I am actually doing a review on it, and also if you watch my June wrap up, you see me talk about it. But it is basically about a girl named Mallory, and you follow her summers from 1993 all the way to present day. And it's very interesting because you know her predicament in the first chapter. So you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And then you get whipped back into time, and the time moves fast, but it's so interesting. If you're kind of on the fence about this one and you're an Ellen Hildebrand reader, I would say this is arguably one of her best books. I have read about 21, I believe, out of her 25 novels. I might have read 22. I think there might be only 3 I haven't read. And that is my recommendation. This is one of my new favorites of hers. I just think it's such a good read. I really need to get my mom to read it because she reads some of her books too. She doesn't read very much in the year because she's very busy, but somebody needs to read this. I need to discuss it with somebody. So when I put up my review, hopefully I get some people discussing it with me. The next book I picked up was Normal People by Sally Rooney. And I picked this up because A, I've seen it for a while floating around. B, more people started talking about it because of C, the TV show. So just to let you know, I am on the 6th episode of the TV show. They were releasing 2 at a time. So then I believe last Wednesday or this Wednesday, the last 2 came out, for Canadians at least. And I know it was released on Hulu in the States, and all the episodes I think were released at the same time. I'm not sure about anywhere else worldwide, but I'm sure you can find it worldwide because it was filmed in Ireland, I believe. So yeah. Anyway, if you're in Canada, it's on our CBC Gem app, so look out for that. But anyway, this book was so good. It's one of those character studies, and I'm a sucker for character studies. I would call it that. And you're exploring the world through 2 characters' lenses. So you have Connell and Marianne, who both grew up in the same town, went to the same school, but are very different. Connell runs in a popular crowd, but he's more quiet, and Marianne is typically a loner. And you see at the beginning of the book how their lives are connected, and you see how their lives connect throughout them growing up from their adolescence to their young adult lives. And just really, really good. I really enjoyed this. I actually told my friend Denise, I was like, you need to read this. That's how I bully my friends into reading everything. I'm just like, I feel like every time I read something, almost like at least every 2 weeks or every week and a half, it's like something I've watched, something I've read. I'm like, you need to see this. And I'm like, but I'm also like the worst at taking recommendations. But I'm not really that bad. It's just like I have so much already that I'm like, I'll get to it later. I'm like, I need to start being better because people are very good about taking recommendations from me. Yeah. The next book I read is another one of my favorites probably this year, and that is The Gilded Cage by Camilla Lackberg. I'm not going to go too in depth about this one because I'm going to be filming a review, which you guys will be able to see the review, or should be. I'm scheduling it, so hopefully it all works out by the time I actually schedule it, but it should be a week from today you'll be able to see when this video is posted. But this book, as I said in my June wrap-up, I'm kind of repeating myself here, gave me Gone Girl vibes. In the sense where it was like, Gone Girl was a thriller that I read that I could not let go of, and I find that's very rare. Usually I can let go of them. I am thinking about them, but it's like I was glued to the chair. This was like the same feeling. Like, I don't usually read I usually read and walk around a table because it gives me cardio, and I just like concentrating that way because then I'm not reading it loud too much and straining my voice. I have certain points. It's a very weird system, but I rarely read in my bedroom because it's usually noisy out my window because my brother blaring music all the day and night. But during this time I was like, it's quiet, I'm going to my bed, I'm going to read, and I was like compulsively reading, and that rarely happens when I do read in my bed, so yeah. So good. So basically you find out the main character in the first page, and you find out from the back. She's in the police station, and you're like, what? Because from the description, you're like, she has a perfect life. So you slowly see how like the perception of her having a perfect life and what really is going on. And it takes so many twists and turns. I really like the female friendships. There's a lot of good female friendships in this. And, well, not really a lot. But there's one really strong one you'll see. And I just can't wait. It's actually going to be part of a series. I don't know how many books, but I know there was a second one that was released in Sweden, so it's in Swedish, so I have to wait till it gets translated into English. I'm going to be hunting that book down because I'm like, I need to read the next one. I was so upset that there was not another one just waiting for me. I was like, why? But I'm happy there is another one. So, small victories. The next book is another one I've already read, which is The Girl He Left Behind by Beatrice McNeill. And this one follows Willow Alexander, and she was jilted at the altar by her love, Graham Curry. And we're seeing Willow 15 years later, and she's dealing with a lot of stuff going on in her life. She's still in her same small town, and she's dealing with the loss of her two friends who she thinks she might have been the reason why they lost their lives. And also Graham is moving back to town. She hasn't seen him since the night before their wedding. And it's just like she has so many things she's dealing with, and you go back in time and you get to see her parents' lives and how they grew up, and then how she grew up as a child, and then present day. And it does this pretty seamlessly. Like, you don't really get whiplash. You can kind of follow very closely. It was a very fast read. It's also based in Nova Scotia, so that was exciting. And I really enjoyed it. It's definitely like a fall cozy read. It's like I said in my June wrap-up, it's like watching a PBS masterpiece or a PBS drama, and you just want to be curled up. Like, I could almost see you curled up in a plaid blanket. Like that typical, like, you know, fall vibe. It's got the Ugg boots. It's got the, I'd say hot chocolate, but you could have your lattes. But I just really enjoyed it. It was really good. I wouldn't say it's like, oh my gosh, my favorite of all time, but it was just an enjoyable, cute, fun read. That did deal with a lot of emotional depth too. It's not like so light where it's like light and airy where it's like nothing goes wrong. She is dealing with a lot, but just a really good book. The next book is the only one that I tried to read this book, but I just wasn't in the mood. I wanted a thriller, so that's why I went with The Gilded Cage. But the book is Truths I've Never Told You by Kelly Rimmer, which is the only book I haven't read in this haul, which I'm trying to read almost everything I'm hauling right away, if not like having one or two left behind, because sometimes, you know, you buy a book and you're like, oh, I'm really excited to read that. You read a few other things and then you're not in the mood. Yeah. Anywho, this book is basically, it's kind of like a sibling story, but basically this one woman's father, he recently moved to a care facility, so because of his dementia. So Beth, the daughter, she volunteers to clean out the house because she's kind of at a crossroads in her life at the moment. And basically she finds letters from her mom, and Beth and her siblings grew up believing that their mother died in a car accident when they were little more than toddlers, but this note suggests something much darker. So basically she pieces together what happened to her mother. So it sounds really interesting. I'm really excited to get to it. It was another one that was on Indigo's bestseller list. I haven't really heard anybody talk about this one yet so far, but also I'm not really... I need to find some more booktube channels to just read fiction. But I'm so lazy when it comes to like looking stuff up because I haven't been watching YouTube as much. I've listened to a lot of podcasts and watching TV, I guess, yeah. I was going to say streaming services, yeah, that kind of thing. The next book, and the second last book in this haul, is Sex and Vanity by Kevin Kwan, who's the author of the Crazy Rich Asian series, which I absolutely adored. I picked this one up. I actually ordered it to the store because my friend told me that there's no copies in hers because of COVID. I think they had less in stock. So I was like, I need to get this. And it's so good so far. So far I'm on page 60. I haven't read yet today, so later today I will be reading more of this. And this one is kind of confusing. I don't really have the plot synopsis because I didn't read the plot synopsis. This was a blind buy. I read it, I think, when they first announced it months and months ago. So I don't really want to read it to you guys because I don't want to spoil it for myself. But because it's an author I like and I trust his writing and know I will enjoy it, it was kind of an easy one to do a blind buy. So if you want to know that one, you might want to look that up. I probably will do a review on this one, but it won't be out until like August at this rate. Then the last book in this haul is The Math Gene by Keith Devlin, How Mathematical Thinking Evolved and Why Numbers Are Like Gossip. This book, I'm currently on page 58. I'm really enjoying it so far. It's another one of my math books. It's my newest math book read, so I'm reading these two simultaneously. And I'm really enjoying this. It definitely is different than the other math books I've read because it focuses on the brain, our mathematical development from our ancestors, and it's just so cool. There's a math trick that is in this book that is just so cool. I kind of want to read it to you guys, and I want you guys to answer in the comments your answers. It's very basic subtraction, so it's not like, I'm assuming most of my viewers can watch this. I don't know your ages, but I'm sure there's no, grade ones watching me. There is, more audience. But yeah, so I'm just trying to find that right now. But it was so cool. I keep asking everybody in my house this, and like I went to my cousin's house and my friend and me went for a walk, and I was like, can you come over and I want to show you my book. So I want you to answer not the subtraction questions, but the last question I asked you in the comments. So what's 1 subtract 1? What's 4 subtract 1? What's 8 subtract 7? And what's 15 subtract 12? As soon as you've done that, pick a number between 12 and 5. Any one, the first one that comes into your head. And then he goes on to say, you picked the number 7, didn't you? How did I know? Because basically it's like this really cool thing where you just did all that subtraction. 12 take away or subtract 5 is 7, so your brain would be in subtraction mode. So if you pick 7, your brain was still subtracting. It's so cool. And if you picked like 8 or 6, your brain was very close, but you might have maybe needed some more subtraction questions. But it's so cool. So far I've had 4 people say 7 and 2 people say 8. So I've seen different results, but if you answered that, I'm really interested to see that in the comments. And anyway, that's been my book haul. Most of you have seen these books, and if you follow me on Goodreads, you've probably seen these, but just so excited, so invigorated about reading. I think it's just, when I can't make as many plans, I get to read more. So, plus and minus. I do miss my friends, though, dearly. Anywho, thank you guys so much for watching. If you've read any of these books, if you want to see reviews on any of these books, let me know in the comments below. If you answer that math question, really appreciate. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.